the struggle. That if Michael Brown pushed the door, the police door, punched the cop in the face, struggled with them for the gun, and then took off. And as one video shows, an eyewitness saying and describing that he circled back and he was charging towards the officer, and the officers felt threatened for his life and felt danger and fired at him. Because A, he doesn't know he doesn't have a weapon. He didn't search him. He didn't handcuff him. He didn't. So you don't see any circumstance that you know of now or that could come out that could justify what the police officer did.
You're drawing up the worst possible scenario. The fact that he could see his hands, or he could see a guy that size, he shot him 6 times, twice in the head. He unloaded his gun on him. What more do you expect?
So is your answer no, sir? You see no possible circumstance?
I do not.
All right. That was Jesse Jackson on this show yesterday, and we got one comment of many from Laney, who emailed us. Jesse Jackson's analysis of the riots in Ferguson prove he's a racist and a race baiter. To him, it's never the crime, never the violence that needs to be addressed, but always a racial imbalance or white man's racism. He's a shameless fraud. Let me start with you, Christopher. Do you see a circumstance, unlike Jesse Jackson, under which shooting Michael Brown would have been justified?
I don't see any justification for shooting someone 6 times who's unarmed. And clearly, in this case, from what we've heard from both sides, is that the man was unarmed. And it was known he was unarmed. Now, he's a big man, yes. But I don't know what happened in training police officers to take people down without using deadly force. There's this new rule among, law enforcement that you protect yourself at all costs, regardless of the harm it does to others. And I think that that's not really what we're used to.
I don't know what new rule you're talking about. I'm a former PBA Man of the Year here in New York City, and I've been dealing with police for 20 years. It's always shoot to kill if you think your life is in danger. I don't know what new rule you're talking about, Kevin.
I completely agree. Look, there's a lot of things that will get you killed in my house. Break in it, that's number one. Do something to my kids or to anybody else that's in there, my loved ones. You're going to get shot dead. I'm not going to hurt you. I'm going to kill you. Look, this is ridiculous. We talk about this stuff. People act as if there's some innocuous thing that's happened here. This man goes to work just like everybody else. He wants to go home safely, just like everybody else. He is in a high volatility occupation, and people act as if he's an accountant. The guy was in a terrible situation. He's going to shoot to kill.
I'm not indicting the guy. I'm not indicting the guy without the facts. We'll get all the facts. Yeah, I'm a former attorney. I'm a former prosecutor. I am a big supporter of the police. That said, this doesn't smell right to me. And I think that we need to wait and see the facts here and not rush to judgment. Now, you guys are accusing some of the protesters of rushing to judgment, but you're rushing to judgment as well. And I think it's time to step back.
We're giving what we know. We're giving what we know to be the police's side of the story, and also the fact that
my opinion is we shouldn't give any side of the story because we don't know the story. None of us, not us, not the protesters, not the police. We don't know the full story. There's only 2 people who know the full story, and one of them's dead. So we need to.
That's not necessarily true. This is unlike the Trayvon Martin case where there were only 2 people. There were lots of witnesses, and apparently a dozen of them back up the police officer's story. But I'm shocked as a former.
I believe in our justice system, and the justice system will get to the truth. That's what I believe.
All right, but I'm shocked that you don't believe a police officer has the right to use deadly force to defend himself from what he considers to be a deadly threat.
I think he does have the right to use deadly force if he feels like he's going to die. But I don't think if he's in a fist fight with somebody, he should pull out his gun and shoot him.
He was not in a fist fight.
Well, it depends on who you're in a fist fight with, because there are people who can absolutely.
All right, guys, Christopher Hahn, Kevin Jackson, I'd love to continue it, but I got to go. Thank you very much for being here. We'll be back with the Newsmax contributor and president of the Catholic League, Bill Donahue. But first, this hour's America's Moment takes a look back at the making of the preliminary Emancipation Proclamation. I said it, see?
Abraham Lincoln began the war between the states with a single stated purpose: to preserve the Union. So it surprised everyone when in July of 1862, President Lincoln announced his intentions to issue an Emancipation Proclamation to free the Southern slaves. Lincoln was urged to delay his proclamation until the Union Army could boast a battlefield victory. That opportunity came at the Battle of Antietam, when Union forces drove Lee's army out of Maryland. 5 days later, on September 22, 1862, President Lincoln issued the preliminary Emancipation Proclamation, stating slaves in those areas still in rebellion within 100 days will be freed. This action made slavery the focus of the war and ultimately caused France and England to withdraw their support of the South. The following January, Lincoln issued the actual Emancipation Proclamation, stating that all persons held as slaves within the rebel states are, and henceforth shall be, free. You're watching An American Moment on Newsmax TV.